The movie begins with an Interpol detective named Eddie Young, along with the rest of the team and Detective Arthur Watson, trying to arrest a gang that is attempting to reach the medallion inside the temple along with the Chosen One, the only owner of the medallion that has supernatural powers. As soon as they land, they enter the place, and some funny moments happen with Detective Arthur as he tries to guide them. Suddenly, we see the other side of the building, the medallion, and the young chosen boy named Hai, who releases light from his hand during his rituals, which causes light to spread throughout the entire place. At that same moment, the gang leader Snakehead, who is greedy for the medallion, attacks the chosen boy to take it. The light continues to rise from under the ground, and our hero Eddie sees it and rushes inside. The confrontation starts and ends with Eddie reaching the chosen boy. Snakehead is forced to set the place on fire, and Eddie saves the boy, but Snakehead manages to escape. Eddie asks Arthur to chase Snakehead, but he doesn't reach him in time. We then see Snakehead ordering his assistant to bring the chosen boy to him because he is wanted by Interpol. 2 weeks pass, and we see Eddie and Interpol planning to attack the gang in Hong Kong. During the secret mission, they observe the gang leader's assistant, and Interpol emerges from underwater onto the ship. We discover that they are transferring the chosen child onto it. The assistant films the boy to send the video to his boss, and Interpol intervenes, starting an intense battle between them and the gang. During the gunfire, Eddie runs out of bullets and begins hand-to-hand combat with the gang members, taking them down one after the other. Meanwhile, the gang successfully kidnaps the child, and Eddie tries to save him but fails. After that, we see Eddie in a helicopter, and we learn that after arresting some gang members, Interpol discovered the location of the kidnapped chosen boy, who has been taken to Snakehead in Ireland. Eddie immediately travels by helicopter to Dublin, Ireland. He enters Interpol headquarters and wants to meet the head of Interpol. Suddenly, he sees Commander Nicole, and it becomes clear they know each other. She greets him warmly at first, but suddenly slaps him. We learn that they were in a relationship, and he didn't keep his promise to call her afterward. For 3 months, they had no contact, during which she was promoted to Interpol liaison officer. They enter to meet the head of Interpol, and Eddie is surprised that Arthur is also in the mission. Arthur gets upset that he is working with Eddie again, and leaves the room after an intense argument, but Inspector Nicole convinces Eddie that they should hold a dinner at Arthur's house to convince him. When they arrive, Arthur is shocked to see them. He had told his wife he worked as a librarian, not in Interpol. They sit down for dinner, and he agrees to join the mission. During this time, Eddie gets closer to Nicole. The next morning, Eddie notices a gang assistant in the street and begins chasing him. The man is good at running, but after a long chase, Eddie catches him, locks him inside a trash container, and interrogates him about the boy. Eddie learns the boy's location. The 3 of them arrive at the port. They find the chosen boy locked inside one of the containers on the other side, while Eddie searches for the boy. A gang member spots him and becomes suspicious, but Eddie escapes. During his search, he finally sees the boy surrounded by gang members and the gang leader's assistant. A battle begins immediately. Things escalate quickly, and Eddie ends up trapped inside the container with the chosen boy. He tries to contact Arthur, but things take an unexpected turn when another container crashes into theirs, sending it falling into the water. As the container sinks, Eddie tries to save the boy but begins to suffocate. The boy gives him the medallion, which activates an air bubble-like effect around Eddie. The police manage to pull them out of the water, but it seems Eddie did not survive until something strange happens after the boy gets close to him and leaves the medallion in his hand. We then see Eddie in the morgue. Nicole says her final goodbye and leaves him with Arthur. While Arthur speaks to him, he is shocked to find Eddie standing beside him. While Eddie's dead body is still on the table, they panic and try to understand what happened, until Eddie concludes that the medallion is the reason. Arthur hands him the medallion, and Eddie's old body evaporates in shock. They rush upstairs to see the child. When they arrive, they send the nurse out and begin talking to the boy. Another nurse enters carrying the child. Eddie approaches and tries to give him the medallion, but the boy splits it into 2 pieces. Eddie becomes suspicious of the nurse's outfit and quickly realizes she isn't a real nurse. His suspicion is correct. She is attacked by the assistant, and the gang storms in to attack them. A few minutes later, Eddie is shot, but shockingly, his body emits glowing light where he was hit. The child tries to escape. Arthur goes after him to save him, and Eddie discovers his supernatural strength. The fight ends with the gang escaping. Interpol arrives, and Eddie hides so that Nicole does not see him. Later, Arthur stays with Eddie as Eddie demonstrates more strange powers, showing that his body cannot die. He asks Arthur to stab him with a knife, and Eddie's body heals instantly. On the other side, we see the gang leader furious about what happened. His assistant insists he saw Eddie die the previous night. Next, Eddie and Arthur go to the Federal Library to learn more about the medallion. They contact specialized scientists, and one of them discovers that the medallion is the secret to eternal life. The legend says that every 1,000 years, a chosen child appears, able to assemble the medallion pieces, resurrect the dead, and perform super supernatural acts. One part grants life, and the other grants superpowers. Arthur and Eddie agree to go to Nicole's apartment, where the boy is hiding. We see Eddie's new strength when he opens the car door and jumps across buildings to reach Nicole's window. Nicole is preparing food for the child. She expresses sadness over Eddie's death, but the child tells her he isn't dead. She doesn't believe him until she sees Eddie outside her window. The events escalate quickly as the gang attacks her home and kidnaps the child using a helicopter. Eddie jumps to reach the child, but fails and falls off the building yet survives, frightening the Interpol members. The gang takes the boy to a castle in the middle of the water. The gang leader welcomes the child and explains he knows the child must die first to return with eternal life. He uses the boy to resurrect himself, but realizes he cannot become immortal because he still needs the other half of the medallion. On the other side, Eddie tries to explain things to Nicole. Arthur tells him he is being hunted by the gang leader, so they rush to Arthur's home. They think nothing is there, until the gang arrives and starts shooting everywhere. We see another character, Arthur's wife, who helped them confront the intruders. Meanwhile, the gang chases Eddie, but catching him is impossible because of his incredible speed. Snakehead appears, and they begin fighting instantly. The battle intensifies until Snakehead manages to steal the medallion from Eddie and take it too. The boy, Eddie, recovers and tries to reach the child. He learns the exact location from a gang member. Eddie arrives before Arthur, who takes a private plane. Eddie and Nicole storm the castle. A massive fight begins between Eddie and the gang. Arthur crashes his plane through the rooms. Glass to kill the gang leader's assistant. Nicole fights multiple attackers and eventually reaches the child. Snakehead attacks her. Eddie hears her screams, rushes in, and sees her lying on the floor. A fierce battle begins between Eddie and Snakehead. Their supernatural strength makes the fight extremely intense. Snakehead impales Eddie with a giant elephant horn, striking the medallion. High orders him to throw the medallion at Snakehead. As soon as it touches him, it kills him slowly. He screams as a dragon and a snake emerge from his back, dragging his soul into the medallion. High gives Eddie the medallion and orders the child to resurrect Nicole, this time using his power. She returns to life. Arthur arrives late, and a funny moment happens when he talks to the child. Eddie and Nicole use their powers to escape. The child opens a portal to another world and leaves, while Arthur is left to return by himself. The movie ends with Eddie and Nicole using their powers together.